Hey everyone, Mr. Pettingill here. I just want to walk you through a style of note-taking called Cornell notes that can be really useful while taking notes during class. I know that note-taking can be very stressful, and I think that this might be a really great way for some of you to help organize your thoughts and use a new note-taking strategy. So with the Cornell notes, what you want to do is you want to draw a giant I on your paper. So the top line's here, middle line's here, bottom line's here, and that's going to divide your paper into 4 sections. The top section is where you're going to write the topic of the day, your name, the date, the class it's in, maybe your teacher, any other pertinent information that you might think is logistical. In this big section on the right here, this is where you're going to write your in-the-moment notes. This is going to be any notes, drawings, graphs, visuals, questions that you have, examples, all sorts of stuff from the PowerPoint, the lecture, the discussion, whatever. And you notice that this section is not super big, and that should be an incentive for you to write concisely, write bullet points. Know that I'm going to post the PowerPoint, that you can always come back to me for questions, ask your friends, so that way you can come in and fill this section in as need be, right? So you don't need to go crazy. In worst case scenario, you can just go on to a second page, just draw another I and keep going, right? Part 2 at the top. That's what you're going to do in class, right? After class is over is when you're going to fill in these other 2 sections. Or it could be after class is over, or maybe if you have a break, or whenever the note-taking is done, whenever you have a chance to review your notes. And on the left here, in this column, you're going to write key points, major ideas, big questions that correspond to these in-the-moment notes. And then at the bottom, you're going to write a summary of everything that you learned in class that day, right? The question I like to ask myself is, if I were going to explain this to someone else, what would I say? What would I tell my parents when they ask me, what did you learn in class today? And in orange, I've got some tips about how to go about using these to study. So in the moment, I like to highlight or underline any questions that I have, and then I study this section for details, examples of these key points here. But these key points are really what you want to make sure you understand. If you don't understand the key points, right, you're not going to be able to understand these. So really making sure you have a solid understanding of these and using this as examples to strengthen your understanding of the main points and big questions. And then you can use this summary to sort of refresh yourself on what the big picture was for this whole topic. So I've got an example here of our notes on classifying species. I've got the teacher name, the class, the date, and I've got a little key up here for you. Blue is taken during class, and orange are taken at a later time. Could be after class, could be during a break, whatever. In this main section here, I've got a definition of a key term here. I've got some details about that term, some an example of taxonomy using humans. I've got lots of labels. I've got some more key terms. I've got a little figure here. I'm drawing some dotted lines, making connections, using arrows to link 2 ideas together. I've got some examples here and here. And then everything in orange, everything in blue is what you're doing in class. Everything in orange is going to come afterwards. So I've underlined some important things, labeled key terms. I've written down some questions that I have. Okay, and then in the key points here, I've taken all this information and I've synthesized everything. Maybe I use just this information. Maybe I also subsidize using the PowerPoint. And I synthesize it and I break it down into a few key points. Right? Taxonomy is a hierarchical naming system for categorizing species into different groups based on the common ancestors and shared traits. These shared traits can be placed onto cladograms, and these cladograms and phylogenies are based on DNA and are proportional to evolutionary time. Then at the bottom, I've got my summary that I might share with my parents or friends or someone that I'm trying to describe this unit in, or not the unit, but the topic in a few sentences. And so when I go to study these notes later, I'll start here. I'll start here to refresh myself on what this was all about. Then I'll start digging into these key topics here, and then I will, as needed, look at these notes to reinforce these key topics. And like I said, you can look at these notes, but you can also look at the PowerPoint. You can ask your friends. You can ask me, the teacher. You can look for other resources online. Right? This isn't the end-all, be-all, but this format, I think, can be really beneficial in helping you take notes in an effective, organized, and less stressful way. Please reach out if you have questions or if you want more tips on note-taking. Happy to help however I can. All right, have a great day.